Yeah, good morning. Good to know you're listening. Good to know you're there. Good to know we're all going through this early month of September with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of hope, and with a lot of, you know, uh, we are looking forward to a great September. I mean, we've entered the Ember months, and every Biafra knows what it means to us. I wish you all well. I hope you achieve what you want to achieve. And for those of you who are looking forward to coming back from diaspora, from anywhere you are down to Biafra land, I wish you a good preparation. I wish you a good accumulation, and I wish you success in all your endeavors, in your different vocations in life. It's a pleasure to come your way again this morning. I'm particularly excited this morning because I got a very, favorable news and the good news coming in, within my camp. We are very much happy, indeed very excited to know that our own able Prime Minister Simon Ekpa is in the news again for positive things. Yeah, those who thought, his conviction in Finland, those who thought giving him 6 years has knocked him off balance, have ensured, a zip up of his mouth, or zip up of his ministry, or zip up of his protest, or a zip up of his support for Biafra and the United States of Biafra are highly mistaken. Because, of course, there's a big news. There's a big news, ladies and gentlemen, and I thought it wise to bring it to your, knowledge early enough. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's a big news surrounding our own able, indefatigable, cerebral, strong-willed, and fearless warrior, Simon Ekpa. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the good news? Yes, September 1st, first of all, was the sad news. The sad news that the Finnish authorities, had convicted Simon Ekpa of 6 years imprisonment. Of course, they said he was guilty of terrorism charges. He was guilty of inciting terrorism. He had a whole lot of things to do with manipulating, the tax systems. And of course, he and the lawyers had a whole lot of issues. Finally, it climaxed into his being convicted on those charges and sent to 6 years imprisonment. Yes, that is what happened on the 1st of September 2025. And ever since then, everybody has been in a melancholic mood. Everybody has been saddened. Most Biafrans are walking like, uh, they are not too excited. They're not too happy. And of course, we were almost deflated. Yes, we were deflated. Because, but I have breaking news today. The breaking news is Simon Ekpa's loyalists. Simon Ekpa's loyalists have come up to say, look, it shouldn't just go that way. We must rally around vigorously. We must show our loyalty. We must stand beside our kith and kin. We must do everything it takes, no matter whose ox is God. We must make sure that Simon Ekpa receives justice, equity, and fairness in his trial, because we know what the Finnish authorities did was completely out of, fairness, equity, and justice. What we know they did was that they just listened to the Nigerian authorities. They were guided, if you like, misguided. They were deliberately misinformed, if you like. They were settled to be misinformed, and they worked using the wrong informations that had filtered from the Nigerian dimension. I mean, we know what, of course, the Jagaban can do. A man who said, even before an election in February 2023, a man who came out to say, it is my turn. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this was an election that has not taken place, election that was yet, to be fully inaugurated, election that was yet to see the light of day, and somebody comes out pounding his chest, screaming and bellowing like King Kong saying, "It is my turn, Emilio turn, Emilio Kong, it is my turn." Ladies and gentlemen, with such verbosity, with such pomposity, with such alacrity, the Jagaban announced his entry into the presidential election. It wasn't surprising, ladies and gentlemen, that that election of February 23rd, February 2023, that election came out, and all we heard was the Jagaban had won, and he was eventually sworn in as the president, de facto president of Nigeria. So a man who comes and tells you, even before an election, that it is my turn, Emilio Khan, and he gets around to achieve it, you can imagine what he's capable of doing. And so we're not surprised all the time when Alexander Stubbs, the president of Finland, was hobnobbing with Nigeria's deputy president, Laji Shetima. We were not surprised when every other time Finnish, you know, um, international representatives, especially those of them who is in the international relations aspect, were hobnobbing with Yusuf Tuga, Nigeria's ambassador, Nigeria's foreign affairs minister. They were hobnobbing with Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, Nigeria's minister for external affairs, you know, minister for state for external affairs. We saw a whole lot of movements, continuous, persistent movement, intermingling, yes, intertwining and integrations, between Nigeria and Finland. And of course, we were not surprised when on the 1st of September, it was a conviction galore for our own Simon Ekpa. Yes, everybody was aware. Even the deaf knew. Even the blind could see that a lot had happened under the bridge. There was a concerted effort by the Nigerian authorities. And when Emilio came and said, yes, this man, this little boy, Simon Ekpa, he thinks he is smart. He thinks he can talk to me anyhow. Does he know who I am? Has he not heard my stories? Who is Simon Ekpa? Or he thinks because he's in Finland, you can denigrate my country. Does he want to stay? Does he know the kind of foot he's trying to step on? How dare he touch the tiger by the tail? That was what Emiloko said. And when he said it, a lot of people thought, people just felt, well, this man, you don't know Finland is not Nigeria. You don't know you can't bribe people in Finland. You don't know you can't promise anything in Finland. You can't buy them mansions anywhere. Those people are people who operate under strict guidance, under the strict guidance of the rule of law. There's no opportunity for manipulations. So, Mr. President, you better calm down and let the course of the law take its turn. But of course, Emiloko could not be undone. Emiloko said, look, I am the Jagaban. What I say is law and final. I have said it that Simon Ekpa must pay. And when he's fully arrested there, when he serves his sentence, he's going to come to Nigeria. We'll make sure he's extradited to Nigeria and we'll give him a double portion. We're going to give him a double portion. I assure you that. I have said it. If I didn't say it, then my name is not a Melokon. I'm the man who said, it is my turn. And everything I say comes to be. Haven't you heard my records? Don't you know who I am? Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Biafrans, we thought it was all a joke. We thought this man was clowning himself. But of course, come 1st September 2025, indeed, we saw that Alexander Stubbs, Finland, had kowtowed. Yeah, they had bowed to the Jagaban. Finland had bowed to the Jagaban. Finland had convicted Simon Ekpa against internationally recognized practices of law, against international stipulated trials in matters of this nature. Finland condemned and convicted Simon Ekpa because, of course, the Jagaban had told them they must do it. Because, of course, the Jagaban had told Alexander Stubbs, the president of Finland, you must do it. And, of course, when Jagaban tells you something, of course, you know a whole lot of goodies, a whole lot of fantastic promises, which, of course, will involve a very big wallet. So the wallet spoke, and of course, Simon Ekpa was convicted and put the whole Biafrans, the whole house of Biafra, were put in a melancholic mood. But ladies and gentlemen, rather than derail us, rather than befuddle us, rather than, demotivate the Biafran spirit, one of the first things that our able, sagacious leader, fearless warrior, Simon Ekpa did was to send a message. He sent a message to Biafrans. He sent a message to the USB, the United States of Biafra, and he said, don't weep for me, Biafrans. Don't weep for me. No, this struggle is not over. It is not over until it's over. Don't shed your tears for me. Don't cry for me, Biafra. I will come out of this bouncing, laughing, and on tops. Nothing can derail me. Nothing. Nothing can put me under. It doesn't matter how many below come. It doesn't matter how many. It is my turn. It doesn't matter what the Jagaban does. Yes, he has infiltrated Finland. Yes, he has bribed. Yes, he has settled. Yes, he has promised. He has promised. And now, here I am. But don't weep for me, Biafra. I will come out of this hale and hearty. It's just a matter of time. Ladies and gentlemen, before we knew it, there was a lot of commendation from the government side, excitement galore for Nigeria. People were screaming, yeah, finally, shame to Simon Ekpa, shame to Simon Ekpa. He has been arrested, he has been convicted, tried and convicted. He's in jail, 6 years, 6 years, shame to him. We thought it was just the ordinary people. We were surprised when the military, the chief of the first staff, General Christopher Musa, came out and said, wow, this is the best judgment I've ever seen for many years. Finland has blessed Nigeria. This is the good news, best news we have had in a long time. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this Simon Ekpa is history. Yes, we have arrested him, and as soon as he finishes 6 years, 6 years in Finland, we'll bring him down to Nigeria, and he'll be sorry. We'll make life miserable for him. He would hate himself. He would never again, even in his wildest dream, even if he was drunk, mention Biafra anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, we were still thinking about what General Musa was saying when his own kit and king, the IPOP people came out. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, Emma Powerful and his group came out and said, we don't know Simon Ekpa. We have no business with him. He's neither with us. We don't know him. We don't care what happened to him. We are happy finally, whatever has happened to him in Finland, his 6 years conviction is good riddance to bad rubbish. Ladies and gentlemen, we thought that was all. Ohaneze came out. The same Ohaneze that was supposed to be, a body of all Biafrans, a body comprising people of Biafran extractions. All of a sudden, Ohaneze came and they were jollificating and they were excited and they were praising the government. Yes, finally, Simon Ekpa has been convicted. Yes, we like his arrest. Yes, we like his trial. Yes, he's been convicted for 6 years. That means the Southeast will know peace now. From now henceforth, everybody in the Southeast will be listening to the government. It will no longer be a question of listening to Simon Ekpa. No more of his audios, no more of his videos. Simon Ekpa is history. Government, Nigeria, you have won. For sure now, 2027 is a reality for the Jagaban. No more Simon Ekpa to tell anybody, don't vote. No more Simon Ekpa to tell anybody, sit at home on Mondays. Simon Ekpa is history. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the news all over the social media. This was the excitement. This was the jubilation. And of course, Biafrans, people like us who love Simon Ekpa, people like us who knew Simon Ekpa, who knew that, of course, he spoke for justice, who knew that Simon Ekpa represented the downtrodden, who knew that everything Simon Ekpa did was to announce, explain, propagate, and duly duly itemize the plight of the Biafrans. That these are people who fought a war they were first forced to fight between 67, 68, 69, 70. A war that was declared at the end of the day as no victor, no vanquished by the then head of state, General Yakubu Gowon. He's still alive. He's still alive and kicking. And yet you said no victor, no vanquished. You continue to, uh, apply all kinds of wickedness to these people. You frustrate them in their business. You frustrate them in their daily life. You took their properties and called it abandoned properties. And yet, you said no victor, no vanquished. You came up with the 3 R's, the reconstruction. You're going to reconstruct all the, destroyed buildings and edifices or institutions. You're going to rehabilitate. Yes, the war has ended. Everybody will be rehabilitated. Come back. And then you said you will construct, you rehabilitate, and you reintegrate. The reintegration, what did you do? You gave the Biafrans a pattern, a miserable 20 pounds, no matter how much they had in the bank, no matter how much they were worth. You gave them a miserable 20 pounds, believing they were going to die and remain beggars for life. But of course, we serve a living God. Every time I say this, I remember what it was like for our fathers, for our mothers, for our uncles who were given 20 pounds despite their monies in the banks, despite their worth as at that time. Family men giving 20 pounds, whole families giving 20 pounds to spend it and to die. Ladies and gentlemen, this was what Simon Ekpa preached. This was what was the message of Simon Ekpa. And this was a message fully articulated and endorsed by our own maximum leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, he was the one who passed the baton down to Simon Ekpa. And they said, go on, take after my footsteps. Make sure you tell the whole world about the plight of the Biafrans. That is what Simon Ekpa did. And this is what eventually earned him a conviction on the charge of terrorism, on the charge of secessionism, on tax-related frauds. There was nothing that was not leveled against him. And they have finally given him 6 years imprisonment in Finland. Ladies and gentlemen, wait for the best part. The breaking news. The breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, is that we are no longer going to be melancholic anymore. We are no longer going to be sad anymore. No, we will not be going around like a defeated people, like a saddened people, like people without a future. No, the Biafran should come out in excitement. Because why? Yes, there is an appeal. An appeal has come forth. An appeal has come forth, a formidable appeal that will be headed by none other than strong international lawyers, duly recruited, duly appointed by someone ever. Simon is one sagacious leader who has always got a plan B. Every time he's doing something, he has a plan B. If I'm not there, what happens after? He had a plan B when he inaugurated the convention in Finland that was to climax into the 2nd December 2024 declaration of the redeclared United States of Biafra. When he decided to go for it, he had a plan B because he knew anything could happen to him. He knew he could be arrested. He knew, of course, he could be sold out. The plan B then was that he appointed, his then chief of staff, Dr. Ngozi Rabweze, to hold forth, hold the baton in case I don't come back. Hold forth while I go and visit these authorities. Hold forth even while this conversion is going on. I don't know what may happen, but hold forth. Ladies and gentlemen, that passing the baton to Dr. Ngozi Rabweze has paid off, because Dr. Ngozi Rabweze has vigorously, completely overwhelmed the international communities. Yes, she has continued to bring up policies upon policies that have taken the redeclared United States of Biafra to higher heavens. Yes, she is hobnobbing with world international leaders, including the 47th President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump. She's attended several invitations, including the EU summit, where she spoke to European leaders. She has gone to Pan-American conventions, where she spoke vigorously about Biafra and the USB. She has gone to every land. She was invited to the inauguration of the 47th President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the plan B that was fully orchestrated by Simon Ekpa. So it's not surprising too that during the course of these trials, he too knew. He knew, of course, that the authorities, the Nigerian authorities, were fighting tooth and nail to get him convicted. He knew, of course, the Jagaban would do anything and everything to make sure he is convicted. He knew, of course, he couldn't trust the Finnish authorities because he knows that most people, when you dangle carrot in front of them, when you dangle gold in front of them, when you dangle diamond in front of them, they easily crumble. He knew that even Alexander Stubb, the president of Finland, had a prize. He knew that all those foreign trips by the vice president, by Yusuf Tuga, Nigerian Foreign Affairs Minister, all those foreign trips by Bianca Dumego Ojukwu, today, tomorrow, to Scandinavian countries, to Finland, to everywhere. He knew there was a prize. He knew there was a motive. And of course, what he did was, look, Dr. Ngozi Arabueze, stand here, keep the fight, keep the struggle, while I appoint these dignitaries, these lawyers, international lawyers, lobbyists, who would fight for me in the event of any sad conclusions, unexpected ends. Ladies and gentlemen, today I bring you the good news that the appeal for Simon Ekpa is out. Yes, the appeal is out from different angles. Different people have brought their lawyers, people who love Simon Ekpa, people who believe in him. His loyalists have come, his attorneys have come. Everybody has come together to put a formidable front. They want to fight. They want to rally around him. They want to make sure this appeal brings Finland, to the full glare of the world, where there will be no opportunity for manipulations, where nobody can dangle carrot anymore, nobody can dangle gold anymore, nobody can dangle diamond or silver anymore. This time it will be between Finland and the whole world. Not Finland and Simon Ekpa, not Finland and Biafra alone, Finland and the whole world. And I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, from the snippets we are getting now, from the information coming around us, it's going to be a terrible warfare. It's going to be a clash of the titans, a clash of the giants, because Finland is in for a big surprise. Yes, Alexander Stubb's government is in for a big surprise. You can't convict an innocent man, a man who said his people have suffered enough, a man who said, don't treat my people like a defeated people, a man who said, enough is enough, let my people be. If you don't want them in Nigeria, if you don't guarantee them their fundamental human rights, if you cannot guarantee them their 3 square meals, if you cannot guarantee them to achieve the highest level of position of the land, then let them go. Let them go. Of course, it's logical. If you don't love your wife anymore, if you don't love your husband anymore, let him go. Let them go. You don't continue to force them to be there and begin to show wickedness, inhumanity, all kinds of maltreatment and maladjustments towards them. No, that's what Simon Ekpa said. And that is what he was echoing his master saying. That's the same message of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That has been the message all along about Biafra. And so the Finnish authorities are in for a big surprise. Simon Ekpa is not just somebody you throw under the carpet and you think nothing will happen. You don't convict an innocent man for terrorism, for sensationalism, for all manners of, fake charges, and you think it will be lying low. No, not everybody is the snitch. Not everybody is the Judas. Not everybody are the ones who betrayed Simon Ekpa. There are still people who love him. There are still people who are loyal to him. And they believe that the Finnish judgment, the judgment in the Finnish courts was completely devoid of reality. It was not fair. It was not just, and completely, it did not reflect the situation at hand. So, ladies and gentlemen, brace up. Simon Ekpa's loyalists under the edges of the Biafra Republic government in exile, BRGIE, have vowed to appeal the 6-year prison sentence handed down to him by a Finnish court. Ekpa was convicted of terrorism-related offenses, aggravated tax fraud, and breaching Finland's Lawyers Act. The acting Prime Minister of BRGIE, Akachukwu, claims the judgment was biased and politically motivated, influenced by pressure from the Nigerian government. That's just the BRGIE. Of course, the Association of International Lawyers, people who have been recruited by Simon Ekpa. I mean, we're talking of Alan Dabiri, Aman Dabiri and co. Aman Dabiri, an international America-based lawyer, have come out to say, listen and listen good. We have watched the rehab and the recast and the rehash of all the decisions taken by the Finnish court. We have looked at what they regarded as their key points. We've looked at what they regarded as their submissions. And of course, we've seen that, of course, everything showed prejudice. Every judgment showed bias. We are very, very sure, definitely sure, that this appeal we are putting up now will completely crumble Finnish judgment and give Simon Ekpa a breath of life. Aman Dabiri said exclusively, he said, look, it's very glaring, very, very glaring, that what happened to Simon Ekpa was a miscarriage of justice. You can't have a faulty foundation and expect to have good results. No, Simon Ekpa is an innocent man, and I assure you, our appeal will shake the world. It will shake the world. Aman Dabiri has promised. Ladies and gentlemen, the grounds for appeal, which we must note today, is Simon Ekpa's team will likely challenge the court's decision, citing potential errors in law or fact, and alleging that the conviction was primarily for his online advocacy for Biafran independence. Maybe you didn't get that, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't get that. Yes. Aman Dabiri, international lawyer, who is very, very close associate of Simon Ekpa, has completely debunked every insinuation that Simon Ekpa, would remain in jail. No, he said no, that conviction will not see the light of day. That I'm assuring you, yes, our team will challenge the court decisions, citing potential errors in law or facts, and alleging that the conviction was primarily for his online advocacy for Biafran independence. Is Finland Nigeria? Is Finland Nigeria? Why is Finland interested, in people who are subjugated, people who are manipulated, people who are marginalized? Why is the Finnish authorities not concerned? Are we not part of treaties? Is Finland not part of treaties of the United Nations that advocate for a free and fair judgment of people at any point in time? Is Finland not a signatory to international reputed organizations that come up and say, when people feel they cannot survive, they cannot coexist in a place they have been kept for a very 100 years period, they are free to move, to move and migrate to where they feel comfortable? Aman Dabiri said, enough is enough. This is certainly not what we expect. This is certainly not what we agree. This can never be. And so Aman Dabiri has said he and a lot of other concerned international lawyers are going to make sure that they will challenge the Finnish court's decision, citing potential errors in law or fact, and alleging that the conviction was primary for his online advocacy for Biafran independence. Yes, you might wonder, ladies and gentlemen, what is the international implications of this appeal? You mean, what are the likely international implications? Ladies and gentlemen, Aman Dabiri has drawn attention to the fact that this case has drawn attention to the global fight against extremism and the complexities of international cooperation in addressing transnational threats. But of course, he said, look, who is threatening who? Who is threatening who? That a man is in Finland and is drawing attention to the marginalization of his people, to treating his people unfairly, to subjugating his people and making them to live in less humanly accepted conditions. Does that make him a terrorist? Does that make him a bad person? No. Attorney Dabri said, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I think Finland is in error, and if they have been allowed themselves to be manipulated for Nigeria, it's very, very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. Aman Dabri said Finland's decision to convict Simon Ekpa will not stand a day, will never stand any public scrutiny, in both local and internationally. Reactions. Of course, like I said, the Nigerian government has welcomed the conviction, with the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa describing it as a landmark victory in combating terrorism and violent extremism. Of course, we know that in Biafra, we have taken it calm. We have taken it cool, because of course Simon has already told us, don't weep for me, don't cry for me, remain steadfast, don't be deluded, don't be disenfranchised, don't be demotivated. We are going to win. It's not over until it's over. So ladies and gentlemen, let me say it here. The appeal has started. International lawyers of great repute have taken up the appeal for Simon Ekpa. And we believe, beginning from today, the 8th of September, the 9th of September, 2025, we are going to see a different outcome. We're going to see a different aspect of Simon Ekpa's life. Of course, he has been convicted. Of course, it's not over. It's not over until it's over. Ladies and gentlemen, the struggle continues. Victory must come. Victory is at a price. It's never easy. Freedom fighting is never easy, but we'll get it at the end of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. Take care and bye-bye.
Yeah, check me out. Superstars Media. Lord Logan, Bloomington, Lord Logan, and it's wild Flora show. 1914 amalgamation is what we dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation, ever since annihilation. Nepotism is nonsense. You and you, clap your hands. Biafra gonna come, clap your hands. Biafra, Oduduwa, we're free now. Freedom is gonna come, we're free now. Yeah.